Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to use Artistic Wire's wire writing system. So a really fun writing system here. You've got the pen that you're going to load your spool of wire onto. You've got 98 pegs to help you spell out your letters and your numbers. And you've got 4 jigs to allow you to write really long words. So I've got this collection here opened up and laid out on my table. So here are what the jigs look like. And you get 4 of them, and they snap together. So if you look at the jig itself, each little quadrant here is the space of a letter. So you'll do 1 letter here, 1 letter here, 1 letter here, and that's going to allow you to have really nice, consistent, evenly spaced letters. And you can make the jig up to 4 long, which is really nice, which will give you 16 characters. Now this one I've actually already loaded with the word hope. That might not look like it spells hope, but it does, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. You do get 6 spools of wire, 3 gold and 3 silver. You get all of these pegs, and let me open this up for you. And you'll see that a lot of them are different shaped, and some of them, which is really great, even have the little letter or number on it. Like this is the capital letter S. And here's the number 8. It can be a little hard to see. It'll make more sense in just a minute. And then we've got the pen, which I've loaded with the wire. So I do want to show you that when you turn this over, what's really nice is it gives you a guide on how to position the pegs on your jig so that you can either spell out a capital letter or a lowercase or a number. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. And of course we've got A through Z capitalized, A through Z lowercase. So a lot of different choices. It also shows you how to load your wire, which I'm going to show you right here. So I think the easiest way to really show you how to use this is to just do it. So I have already opened one up. But when I opened it, I was really careful not to rip the back because you definitely need your guide. So I'm going to put this other one away, and I'm going to show you as if I was just starting out here. So I'm going to take the little stopper off of my pen, and I'm going to pull my wire out. So I've got the spool of wire right here, and the pen and that little stopper. So there is a slit in the pen right here, and it goes down to a tip, which is not open. So the hole is open, but the slit doesn't go all the way through, and that's good because that keeps your wire in place. So you're going to place your spool onto the little rod here on your pen. I'm going to wind this up a little bit so it's not quite as long. Place the wire down through the slit, and then you want the tip of that wire go in the little hole and out the end of the pen. Now, make sure the rest of your wire is within that little canal, and then place your stopper back onto your pen so that it keeps nice tension on your wire and keeps the spool from falling off. So you really do need to use spools of wire that fit this pen. I'm sure there's probably a workaround that someone could come up with, but it's really important that that wire spool is secure on there. So now I want to show you how you go about spelling out your word. So I'm going to spell out hope. I'm just going to start with the H. And because it's only a 4-letter word, I find it a little easier to just work with one of the jigs. So I need to find the H, and I want it to be lowercase. So I'm going to look right here, and this is the lowercase h. And you see there's a little diagram which represents the first quadrant on your jig. So that's right here. And there's various pegs noted. So the first peg that I see that I need is this little guy right here. Now it's the smallest peg that comes in your collection, and it's noted as that little circle with a dot inside. So I'm going to look and see that's 1, 2, 3 little units up on the jig. I'm going to place my peg right there. Now moving over, there's one right next to it. So I'm going to place another peg right there. So we've got those first 2. Now there's kind of an odd looking one, and if you notice here, there's actually quite a few different little shaped pegs. And what's very helpful on the ones that look pretty similar, because you can look in your bin, you can look here, it's like this one has a big O on it. This one has the number 8. And then if I look in here, this one actually has the lowercase h written on it, which is very helpful. And it does look like the picture. So I'm going to now place it right there on my jig. And now there's one more of the little guys. So I'm going to go ahead and place this guy so he's on the last row. And I'm going to set him down in. And then we've got one more to make our letter H. And it's one of these guys right here. And so he is right on that third column at the top. So that is the letter H. And let me really briefly, before I move on to show you how to actually write a letter, let me just show you some of the various pegs just to give you an idea. There's these big round ones. There's various shapes. And you'll just be able to identify from the diagram what you actually need. And it's nice to have a little case to keep them in. So there's the letter H. And let me just show you how to write the letter H as is from what I just did with these pegs. And then I'm going to show you how to do the full word hope. So on the diagram itself, there's also a line drawing. And there's little teeny tiny numbers which show you the direction of your wire path. So here we go 1, so it's going under the first peg. You follow the little arrow, it's going up and around that very top peg. It's going down again. And then you move over, and here's number, so that was number 1, 2, and 3. You move over, here's the number 4. It goes up, loops around, and over, and back under that last peg. So you'll just need to follow the path that's shown in the diagram. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to hold my wire, and I'm going to go under the first peg. I'm going to go up and around that top peg. And then I'm going to go down. I'm just following the pattern. Up and over, and down and around. And there's my letter H. And then what you can do is take a wire cutter. And what I like to actually do first before I cut it off is I like to just secure it a little bit more. So I press it down, not all the way, but just enough to make sure my loops are nice and solid. I'm just going to trim it off. And then when you pull it off, you've got the letter H. And then you could trim it however you want. And you'll notice that it's not quite flat. So what you can do is you can use your fingers to flatten it like this. Or what I like to do is take a bench block and a rubber mallet and hammer it down. And that flattens it very nicely without dinging or marring the wire. So now I want to show you how to go ahead and write an entire word. So I preloaded the word hope onto here. I'm just going to pull my wire out a little bit more. And I will be referring to my chart as I do this because it is helpful, especially when you've got quite a few letters here. So I remember how to do the H, so I'm just going to hold my wire, go under that first peg, up and around. So there's my H. Now for the O, I'm going to look right here, so I need to go under that first peg on the first column, up over those pegs there, and loop back around and under. So let's see. And I actually find the O to be a bit tricky, so I'm going to hold the wire right here with my thumb. And now I need to go between these two pegs, which can be a little challenging. So I'm going to allow myself a little bit more wire and kind of use my finger to really try to push it in there. There we go, so it stays. Now I'm ready to do the P, and the P has quite a few loops. Not a lot of pegs, but quite a few loops. So you'll just follow the diagram. And the pen is really feeding that wire through very nicely, so it's just easily coming out the end. And where needed, I'm just going to hold the wire, especially when I go around a loop. Okay, there's my P, and now I need an E. So I look here, there's my E. And of course, the more you do this, the easier it'll get. So there is the word hope. And I'm just going to cinch it up a little bit where I can, if need be. Just push it down. And then I'm going to pull it off. And again, it's not super flat. So I am going to, first off, I want to trim off that little guy. And trim off that. And now I'm going to hammer it. And even once you hammer it, you can still work with it to make it a little bit straighter if you want. So now we've reproduced the word hope 3 times, and they look pretty darn similar, which is a really nice aspect of this tool, is you can reproduce the same script over and over again and have some nice consistency to it. So a couple ideas of what you might do with these pieces. They'd be really fun for scrapbooking. If you're doing place cards at weddings, this would be great. You could spell out everybody's name. You could put these on wedding cakes or other cakes as a nice little personalized decoration. Of course, you're not going to eat it, it's wire, but you could save it, it's really fun. You could also make some jewelry out of it. Just note that it is quite fragile in this current state, even being hammered. So you're going to need to be really careful if you do jewelry out of it. Just keep that in mind for sure, because it is really flexible. But in terms of scrapbooking, party favors, a lot of different home crafts you can do with this. It's just a really neat tool, and it's actually quite easy to use. So I was very happy with the results and how easy it was to figure out and how easy it was to use, and the variety of different words and combinations you could come up with. You can find this tool here, as well as many other wire tools and artistic wire supplies at Beadaholique.com.